Selectmen's
like Miss
meeting,
IT.
December 15th, 2021.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Call the meeting to order, we'll pledge allegiance. Please,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Marconi is zooming in tonight, so we have a full board here. We're gonna conduct a public hearing on the land on 205 Nimble Hill Road. Well, that's us, the land down in Shattuck, in Patterson Land. We're gonna take, there'll be no action by the Board of Selectmen tonight. We're taking input on this one. We have another public hearing that's dedicated to us by law on December 27th at 5 o'clock. And after we get all the input, we will make a vote on it. But tonight, we're listening and taking everything and all the information we can receive. So, we'll proceed. We'll go Eric first. Eric, can I give us a, yeah.
You want me to? Well, first of all, I want to know who made the photocopy of this.
Oh,
I did the
no,
original.
I
So,
made the
I just want to
photocopy.
know what the name of the road is right in front of the medical office building.
Oh, well,
Picky,
I gave it the wrong
picky.
one, I filled in by hand because it went off the screen there, so. That's past tense, but.
So I guess you want my input on this land and
The easements in order.
the easement, so that it's encumbered with multiple easements, and which renders it very difficult to to develop. And it being town land, you know, it's not in a resource protection area, it's not in a natural area, so it doesn't really have a lot of value environmentally. It's got how many feet of grade change on it?
Excuse me? How many?
Grade change from down.
Oh, probably about 30 feet.
Yeah, so it's a challenged piece of land from a topographic standpoint. The utilities, there are no wetlands on it that I know of. What I do know is that, you know, it's an opportunity if the town decides to sell, and how they decide to sell it, you know, obviously has bearing, is if they sell it as a single piece of land that doesn't go towards Mr. Phillips, I don't know what value it has and what you can do with it. But if it goes to someone like Mr. Phillips, and even the property on the other side, that's all conservation land, right? So you can't really do anything merging that. What it does for him is it creates an opportunity to eliminate a side yard setback on his property, allow him to build closer to the easements and so forth. And I don't think there's anything in the deeds that precludes surface alteration and use of the land for things like stormwater management or parking. So that there's some opportunities there. And so I think that there's, and I don't know the mechanism how it would happen to sell, and whether it's closed bid or however it happened, but the highest and best value is to someone like Mr. Phillips.
Thank you very much. Anybody wish to speak in favor? We're gonna ask it 3 times. Anyone wish to speak in favor of selling the land? Anyone opposed to selling the land?
Rather than opposed or for, I'd just like to tell you some points that the planning board had considered. If the land were to go up for sale and the abutter was not successful in getting the bid, it would then become a non-conforming lot. non-conforming lot, then we could be creating hardships, and then be coming in for the ZBA asking to build on their lot, because people are gonna say, well, we have a right to build. But there's not just the Air Force that has the gas line the old fuel line going there, there's also the gas line that went there, was it the Maritime gas line? There's also an easement on there that is, I don't even think it's an easement, but because there was a road there, Eversource and the telephone companies and the fiber optic companies and the communication companies, when there used to be a road, they had by law, RSA, to build alongside of the road. Right now, the way this is, there is no road and there is no easement for all those companies. And then finally, one of the things I'd like to say is that I think we should try to find a way to help business get on there and possibly do, as the planning board suggested, put either a long-term lease or some kind of lease or some kind of agreement that would allow business to expand. I think selling this particular lot, everyone seems to think that, at least on the planning board, that it's like a crossroads of easements coming across there, and the biggest concern that everyone had on the board was that, if, like I said earlier, if this land were to sell to somebody that is not in a butter, it then becomes a problem for the town, who they're gonna wanna say is, well, we have a right to build on this, you need to issue us a permit. So I think it brings up a lot of issues, but I think you can find another means of helping out with the parking, as I think Mark is asking for. I think that might be a win-win for everybody. And there's also a pipeline, the old fuel line that's there, and I think it's a good idea to keep it too, so that you can have access from one side of the Spalding Turnpike to the other. Right now, the pipe is vacant, and it's a 12-inch line. And it's just an opportunity for the town to have that for future use if we ever needed to get across it, the Spalding Turnpike.
Thank you. Anybody else speak in favor?
Mark Phillips, for the record, on the color chart you have, outlined in red is what the lot looks like now. And you'll see to the right, I show expanded lot, ... That means that, the former, disabled American vets buildings, are on a substandard, non-conforming lot. And North-South has purchased that property, and they're very squeezed in there. This land in the back could be annexed by them, perhaps, to make that a more viable lot. Maybe they could build something more substantial there. So that would be looking just beyond the Patterson Lane town, land. My vision would be to maybe, indeed, let them buy the wing to the north, if you will, so they can have, more utilitarian use of their land.
So the part of the lot now currently that's labeled expanded, that's currently part of the lot
Yeah,
line?
everything in red I own right now.
Okay,
However, it's narrow behind there with setbacks, it becomes almost useless. But if that were next to them, and I'm just talking out loud, I don't have any agreement with them, but I know they would like to do more with the lot than leaving it right as a storage, equipment place or something. So, that's just, it may kill two birds with one stone, so we could make that less non-conforming and give me the opportunity to build maybe not a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot building, but maybe an 8,000 or 10,000 square foot building on my lot when it's next to the town land.
So part of the expanded lot is the old DAV building and the old two-way radio building, is that just for?
So I own everything circled in red right now.
Right, but in front of that building between.
Yes, those two
River is the DAV or whatever it was, and the old two-way radio or whatever it was.
No, they're still further down. This is,
Oh, okay,
yeah, this is just the disabled American veterans of that contemporary glass
Right,
thing
yeah,
that's, been vacant for years.
thank you.
So I think that, Dennis's comments has a lot of merit, because there are a lot of utilities and it's entirely encumbered. But I think that that's also something that could be worked through with legal. But I also, and I just don't know the mechanism. I agree with Dennis entirely that if the wrong I'm not using the right term. If the abutter doesn't end up with it, you could end up with a really
Can of worms.
ugly can of worms. And it could put, I don't know if it puts the planning board in much of a jam, but it definitely put the zoning board in a jam, which ultimately would probably put the planning board in a jam. And, but, so I don't know how that gets worked through, but it certainly, I think it's something that can be worked out legally. I do have another comment to make,
Please.
and I can't help but, I had to take a note because came up in the office today, and it said, no matter what happens, we request that Storage Barn complete their as-built plans and finish their punch list.
Make that a prerequisite.
So noted.
There, that sidebar is done.
Anybody else wishing to speak in favor or opposed? One more time, the last time for today, and we'll continue this on the 27th December at 5 o'clock, the second public hearing, as required by the laws, the RSA's of the state. Anybody wish to speak in favor? Anybody opposed?
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Please.
I won't be here on the 27th, but if I could do it from Zoom, I could perhaps do it. I really wanted my next door neighbor is a fellow with the precision machine shop that would like to build his business on this land. And he learned this morning, his wife did, that she tested positive for COVID. And he was planning on being here tonight, but he's like, I'm gonna stay home, so.
Okay.
So I just wanna let you know that I was hoping you could see him tonight and, you know, get a flavor of what he wants to do. He's a high precision machine shop, like, you know, Wilcox is on steroids, but he's a small guy with
Right.
a shop of like 4 or 5 guys. He'd like to put up a 8,000 or 10,000 square foot building and operate out of half of it, maybe lease the other half till he grows into it. He's
Sounds like great industry for the town.
he's a brilliant guy. He's got patents. He's got a shop now in Massachusetts. He wants to bring it here to Newington. And he's the brother of, it's David Anderson, the brother of Ken Anderson. It's the Pickering Marine. You know, so we've already got a presence in town.
Mark, can I ask you a question? When he came to the planning, he came to John Krebs and myself. I think he came to the planning board, but I'm not sure. No, it was just before a meeting. He said he needed to be out of Cambridge.
Wherever he is, he's
by
on the lease.
March.
That's not happening.
I don't know, but.
It was like, when he came, it was like in August. And I said, how, it can't happen.
Even if he had approvals now.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. That's, but I just kind of wondering if he's still interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Any others? Any other information? Close the hearing now and continue it on at 5 o'clock on December 27th, Monday. Thank you all, and we'll accommodate, we can work on a Zoom with, you, Mark, or whatever, okay?
And Mr. Anderson, if he wants to zoom in, I'd encourage that.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you need me on that?
Okay, thank you.
I've done my job.
You've done your job.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded? Discussion, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, appreciate it. Merry Christmas to all you and families, and have a great holiday season.
So, Mr. Phillips, where we